welcome you to this segment. It is a discussion segment, and we have a guest that has joined us to look at the topic of today, and the person is Monsignor Jerome Madeke. Monsignor Jerome Madeke is of the Catholic Diocese of Oka. You're welcome, Monsignor.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you.
Welcome to
Welcome.
Thank you.
And we're looking at living a life of charity. Perhaps you may be wondering, in this hot political season, what are you doing with a Monsignor in the studio? But you have seen our topic for today, living a life of charity. Make it fair name, at least I see from somewhere. Danyona Takwanu, we ought to go mad. Ekutu, Madina attention. We be doing what is going on now.
Yeah.
So before we even take off now, Monsignor, how will you see the primaries that is going on in different political parties?
Yes, a primary, it seems like business as usual, where the rich and the powerful, they elect who they want to enrich themselves, and not the people. And it seems also that people have not yet known their rights. Because we cannot just remain like that, and a few people, very few people, they continue to manipulate ballot, if they need our ballot, but they continue to even mortgage our future for their selfish end. So this is the way I look at primaries. It's no primary, because if it is selection, and that's where corruption begins. Even before the show, they say it's election. Because primary, if good people are not elected, if God's sons are elected, as those who really help in the embezzlement, that's how they present to the public, not too good people.
But why is it that Christians don't venture into politics? Because I know the campaign has been on for some time for Christians to venture into politics.
And maybe they'll bring that change that
right.
is needed in that aspect.
Yes, you touch on a very important thing. Christianity is to follow Christ. In fact, Christianity arises from people who take Jesus Christ as their Lord and Master and submit to Him, His commands, His will, just as Jesus Christ submitted to the Father. That's the meaning of Christianity. And so they follow His command to live in this world, because this world is the kingdom where His reign should come. So the point is that when you say Christians, well, people may be baptized, and you find that even armed robbers, they bear the name Christians. So if you say Christians joining politics, one, that is if they have faith and love, because without love, we cannot really have faith. We cannot really, because faith without works, that shown in love, is nonsense.
I see.
So the point is that they have also to have love to sacrifice. They are convenient for the sake of Christ, so that the will of Christ may manifest in their lives. Okay. And this is how sometimes it is difficult for most people. And also, there are people who don't understand the social doctrine of the church. Because definitely the church has principles with which people can live in the world, in the midst of wickedness, in the midst of corruption, to be able to stand for Christ. So if they don't have knowledge and perhaps skill to be able to live in the midst of crooks, that's how they, if you can't beat them, you
but
join
these
them.
crews, Monsignor, these crews are members of different churches, okay?
Different churches.
So we expect the what do you call it? The Christians. All of us are Christians, you understand? We expect the church, that's what I wanted to say, the church, to be teaching them, because all of them go to all these positions. They're all church members and they belong to the church. And they still come out and behave as crooks.
Does it mean that
the church has not really done, thank you, Dave, done what it's supposed to do?
The church does, and even does more than is expected sometimes. To give good example, to draw people to charity, especially to the poor. But what happens? You see, there is selective absorption. When you listen, you select what you want. And this is how it happens that preaching may continue and all sorts of, today, hear the gospel everywhere. So nobody is excused who says he has not heard the gospel. But what happens is that Jesus Christ said that they hear and they do not understand, and see and do not perceive, because their heart is closed. When heart is closed because of mammon, because of thirst for power, because of greed,
yes,
you can talk till Jesus Christ comes again. And
you nailed it. You've nailed it. Thank you very much. Thank you. Let's move ahead now as we look at the topic for the day, which is living a life of charity. And you know that charity, like all other virtues, is something very practical for our daily lives. There are two major obstacles to living out this virtue. One is our ego, while the other is our moods. As long as whatever is given, whether a service or material gift, makes a positive impact and the difference on the life of the recipient, then it qualifies to be a charitable gift. And that's why we are looking at this today. Now, Monsignor, when do we say that one is living a life of charity, or is it the same as stewardship, just as we have started with a politician?
Also talking about the social doctrine of the church. When does it start? When do we start talking about that this person is living a life of charity?
Yes, everything began with the fall. God who created us is love, and God is compassion. He loves gratuitously. He is Father of all, provides, ever benevolent. But what happened when man decided to turn away from God, to seek himself, and to give himself a future without God? This is where everything begins. So, what happens? Selfishness enters. And when selfishness enters to play out, then what do you say? Instinct of self-preservation begins to operate and have dominance. And the instinct of self-preservation leads man to be wolf to fellow man. Another thing is that what you see again, for man, nothing goes for nothing.
No free lunch.
And what happens? Greed and avarice take position. And greed, love of having. And there is a Latin adage that says, amo habendi, habendo crescit, which means the love of having grows by having. You can never satisfy, thirst to have. So when greed sets in, all a man wants is to acquire, to keep acquiring. And it contradicts the spirit of giving out. Obrandi Igbo say, Naneji apata, etufo, abogaranya. No as no ibie, opwe. Then avarice takes place also. Avarice is that spirit to hoard. Always to hoard. Even when you don't have any clear idea of what to do with your possession. But you have this urge to hoard, which contradicts sharing, sense of sharing. In fact, an avaricious man thinks that when he shares, he is diminished. And that's why there are people who keep hoarding, get to their wardrobe, and they have pieces of you have clothing that they don't know when they will wear. But they are looking for
when they used it last.
New clothing. You get to some scholars who keep hoarding books. They have libraries that nobody reads. Instead of giving this library to public library, where the poor can have access. The same thing with money, people keep
a whole lot of things. We're still going to get to that.
So
but there's something that you said that really struck me now.
Okay.
Nandi was saying, and perhaps this is why a whole lot of us don't give out. Living a life of charity. Number na phone gi iwele ikpa anyi iwe tinye onu na fine akpa. Kedu ife bụ living the life of charity if you want to do it and you find yourself not doing it, I stop you from doing it, because a lot of people reasons how I work now. No, I man, a father like he whip my quiet say on our wardrobe, my everything. You
know, we normally say just like we are here to ask people to live a life of charity, but just like the Inuato now, does it mean that our social value, our social ecosystem doesn't actually in the real sense promote giving? If such ideologies of does our system actually promote in the real sense of it giving?
Yes, it's a very important question. If you look at man, the human nature is fallen and therefore incapable of desiring good. Desiring good. That's why man needs redemption. And this redemption is what Jesus Christ came to accomplish by sharing our human nature. He shared our human, and we saw how he did it. He first of all was born poor, associated with the poor.
Okay, and the photo in TV.
Okay. Okay.
We kunyaka we encourage yenye o wende na aga le faculty fe go qualify na nye nwa ego gbakonya senya naba.
Yes.
Excellent.
So the point is that looking at Jesus Christ, we saw his life. His life becomes model of charity because he associated with the poor and even mandated all those who will follow him that the least of these, it is in serving them, in serving this least of these, that they would love him. So that's where we see that charity now is for somebody to turn to Jesus Christ. There are two reasons. First, because Jesus Christ is good to us. God is good to us.
Oh.
Everything we have
Reverend, because the same man kind of go say and go see dulu one banana. Where Polly a jail na restaurant nye juanya for perhaps nye go banana ubu. Where Polly a jebe na school, je register na school. Living a life of charity. Or if I so there are so many ways you can come in.
So everything that we have and are comes from God. And St. Paul says, if God is the owner of all that we have and are, then why are we proud and arrogant and stingy from sharing what God has given us?
Okay, can we take this call before you
continue?
Go ahead.
Okay.
Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning and welcome to Good Morning, Anambra.
Yes, Brother Joseph.
Okay.
Yes. Reaching you from Omobo.
All right, go on.
Yes, people in Abanokuta, Maka. I just want to chip in one or two things. Okay. The point is that some people actually have the spirit of giving. But most of the times, the society we are into becomes a problem. Some people will give, and even the people they give will begin to criticize and attach one fetish to this behavior. That you want to take your destiny.
And take your
stance. And get more money. Yeah. And all those things. And some people will give when you get to the village, and some fetish villagers will use the money to prepare one concoction or the other, thereby bringing such an individual down. So these are the fears people interpret sometimes with doing good. But naturally, it is good to do good.
It is good to do good. Thank you very much, Barrister Joseph Angansi. Mananya ju question I can defend them and the for the name that like in your libe faka. Only 4 points to say out. Keta. No for the inya, I say na lea kalaki, and I do go several times. Can do call Galanya gets to a jewel kalaka mobony. If you get this much or a bobony. Also for that Nigeria walk.
And in some situations where we've heard some people being accused of molesting a kid, they give to. Some of these things actually discourage it. How do we deal with it?
That's just the problem.
That's what you see in a society of wickedness and corruption. In fact, that was the reason why St. Paul said, this generation may be evil, but our good deeds will redeem it. So the few who give, they should not give up. Because at the end, it is God we are giving in the poor. If you are giving because you want good name, popularity, and so on, so on, this is the whole sense of charity
Giving.
according to Jesus Christ. When Jesus Christ came to redeem humankind, he was blasphemed and he was put to death, hung on the cross. But that did not diminish his charity.
And the Bible recorded that he gave all. He gave his life.
He gave all. So no matter how people are really behaving, it is because they have not experienced charity.
They have not experienced
charity. They are not
charity.
capable of charity.
And when
so
you talk of
next thing is they have to
charity
begin
and
to
giving,
suspect those who are charitable.
Apart from Jesus Christ, only one other person that touched the life of many all over the world when they talk of giving and charity, talking about Mother Teresa. And now, how does it, does helping others benefit one? Because it's, okay, look at Mother Teresa.
Yes.
That lived a life of charity
That's
all
right.
through
Mother
her
Teresa,
life.
it was not easy for her. In India, there was this ostracism. There were people who were marginalized and therefore left to die in gutter. Mother Teresa went to pick them. She was accused of proselytism.
What is that? What
proselytism.
Is that?
That is using charity to convert the Hindu, Buddhist, and Muslim to Christianity.
Hello? Okay, sorry about that.
So he was accused of proselytism.
That's using charity.
Charity to convert the Hindu, the Buddhists, and Muslims.
Okay, to Christianity.
He was also accused of really getting the people revolt against the government.
Okay.
So he had a lot of persecution. Even there were also some clergy ranks who felt that he should not provoke the anger of the government.
Or that she's seeking for popularity.
Or seeking popularity.
But she had all this, but she persisted. Okay, they call her in with this, and now where some things now stop Madu from, from giving charity. Look at what Mother Teresa went through, passed through, and she persisted. She didn't stop. Yeah,
so
somebody say hello.
Okay.
Hello.
Your name and where you're calling us from? Wento Nugi. All the gigas in
I am taking what caller because I don't know if you put your phone no if you want to talk to us. Okay, sorry about that.
Maybe
when next you call, you try to put the phone in your mouth. Let's hear you very clearly. Yes.
So how does one practice charity? First of all, you have to believe in the universal destination of earthly good. That the portion of God's good you are having doesn't belong to you. It belongs to God. And what God intends. And that everything that God has given is for the good of humanity. Therefore, not solely for the good of the individual in the selfish way. If you believe in this, that's how you come to begin to understand the dignity of human beings.
Okay, let's take this call.
That the poor, that they share in human dignity. And the Bible says that what is good, what you want done to you that is good, do it to your neighbor.
Okay.
So that's how you are therefore raised from this kind of selfishness to question consideration for others. Consideration even with regard to your wealth. And when that happens, then it becomes possible for you to practice what St. Augustine says.
Hello.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Good morning.
For calling from Agono.
Good morning.
Yes, my contribution this morning goes this way. There's nothing that will stop someone living a life of charity. So the statement of taking people's destiny and what have you, if you are led by the Spirit of God and you want to duplicate the love of Christ in you as existing human, you have no excuse to continue living a life of charity, giving to others. Because at the end of the whole system, you find out that you are blessed for you to be a blessing to others. No matter what people say in society, no matter what they do, continue living a life of charity. Because at the end, nothing you come with in this world and nothing you go. When have to have the Spirit of God in you and the special grace of God. And for you to now define the life you want to live.
Okay.
And so doing God's life.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much, John Paul.
Thank you very much, John Paul.
Yeah,
thank you.
Thank you so much for your contribution. Because charity is of God. And the devil is never happy.
Devil is never happy,
charity
and charity is of God.
Have persecution.
And I know that
discourage charity.
I know that they say live a life, give a life. It's one of the ways Christians are encouraged to be charitable.
Right.
And just recently, we saw the First Lady of Anambra State, Chief Mrs. Ebelechukwu Obiano, living a charity. I mean, giving charity to a whole lot of people. The people that okay, look at what is going on the screen now. That going around affecting the life of the poor, the needy, the indigent. Just recently, she discharged a woman that was trapped in the hospital and gave birth to 5 triplets and a whole lot of things, you know.
Yes.
So, is this not something that
charity.
You know?
Yes. Let me say this, because today charity is being mixed up. Okay. When somebody is in public office. St. Augustine says that it is not charity when you do something that is owed to somebody in justice. It is justice when you are in public office. Justice is to give everybody his due. You have public money entrusted to you. Therefore, due process, rule of law, how that money is spent, accountability. First of all, because it's public money, people should know how much that's in your possession.
Yeah, that is why.
And how much it is spent.
That's why.
Excuse me.
No, I'm coming. I know where you're going. I said that's why we're able to talk about this, because I know that in so many climes, even in so many states, civil servants are being owed salaries. Then when you don't pay, when you're not able to pay civil servants their salaries, how can you now be able to bring up money from the public post, like you have mentioned, to affect the life of people in your domain? That's why it's very, very important to us, and that's why we always encourage her because of what she's doing. But before,
I'm also talking about the fact that she's not in public office.
She's not in public office, okay? But just because we don't have much time, we are living. Please advise our people, so, especially those of us that call ourselves Christians and will find it difficult to live a life of charity. Please advise us to go.
If you want me to advise politicians, I will tell
everybody,
them,
general advice.
No, because they feel people enter into public office to embezzle money, and then with that money to become Mother Teresa. If you hold public office and public money is entrusted to you, what you do is injustice. If you talk of charity, when Jesus Christ meets you, when Jesus Christ encounters you, he encounters you like he encounters Zacchaeus. You have first to return what you have stolen. By the way, Zacchaeus returned fourfold. Okay. Because what is stolen accrues. So he had to return fourfold.
Advice. We are living life of charity.
Therefore, if you want to practice charity, practice it with your money.
Practice it with your money.
With your money.
The church can.
The public money is for justice.
Because I know that people contribute money in the church. The church can also do charity.
That does not exempt people.
Okay, thank you very much.
Pharisees,
Pharisees,
they want to advertise their charity.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much.
They want to show that they are loving to the poor, and sometimes.
All right, so we've been around with Monsignor Gerald Madeke. Monsignor Gerald Madeke is of the Oka Catholic Diocese. I would like to thank you very much for joining us this morning, Monsignor. So it's always a pleasure having you here. Okay, thank you. Thank you for joining us. I've been around with Dave.
Yeah.
And remember that we are coming back with the next segment, please. Yeah.